the recording. So the webinar will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch it afterwards. So if you're ready to start, please let me know in the chat. Nice. Yeah, so it's time. Let's start. I will start the screen sharing. So do you see the screen? Perfect. So previously, we stopped on the server configuration. So we discussed the replication function. And now let's go forward and discuss all the other settings about the server. So as I said last time, we can change the settings for each server or for the group of settings. So we have already discussed the group settings. Right now, let's discuss the settings of each server. So to do that, we click on the server. And here we can click Diagnostics, so we can see some problems with the server. So right now I a little bit overloaded it. And also we can click here, Configure, and open all the rest settings, like settings for the archive. So we can see here the available drives. We can set here the mode for this drive. So for example, right now the system drive is not being used. We can select another options, for example, archive plus database, only archive, backup archive. So in this case, if all the other drives connected to the server will fail, in this case, this drive will be used. Then the same option, but plus database, database only, and also duplicate archive. This option, duplicate archive, is available only for Ultra, and in this case, when we are working with several drives, the Eocortex software is splitting the recordings in some small portions and recording these portions to different drives. So for example, first portion goes to the first drive, second option to the second, and so on. So in this case, if we lose one of the drives, we still have the recordings on another drives, but there will be just small gaps in the archive. So let's say the frame rate will be lower, but we will still have the archive. The duplicate archive option allows you to record the whole frame rate to another drive, separate one. So that means that you have recorded, for example, the archive that is distributed between the local drives, and you can connect the network drive as a duplicate archive. So in this case, you have a replication on one separate drive, but not the server. So you don't need to buy an extra server. You just use the storage and duplicate the archive there. Then network. So here we can change settings for the network. For example, we can enable or disable the Rtsp streaming. So that is being used for monitoring centers. If we need, we can stream the video not directly from the camera, but from the server, because in this case we use the network more efficiently. So we collect all the recordings, all the videos from the cameras in our Eocortex server or a group of servers. And then we send the Rtsp video stream from the server to the monitoring center, so to integrate our system with the existing one. Also, here you can see that there is an Onvif connection. So Eocortex is compatible with Onvif, so we can connect Eocortex to other systems. Also, not to just send the video streams, but also to send the notifications and all the events from the system. So once again, that is being used for the monitoring centers, so we can see all the events from Eocortex, all the videos, and we are able to collect these videos from different systems. For example, if you have a monitoring center and you want to collect the videos from the whole country or from the different signs across the world, and you have different systems like Cortex, Milestone, and so on. So you can combine them by sending the videos and sending the events from it. Then mobile devices. We have mobile applications for iOS and Android to watch the videos, to receive the notifications, and so on. And here we can configure the settings for the video streams. The server will be sending the video streams in 264 without decoding if the server, if the mobile device can support that. But if the mobile device doesn't support the H.264, or if you configured on the camera another video stream like H.265 or Motion JPEG, in this case, the video streams will be encoded to being sent to the mobile device. And here you can configure what frame rate and what resolution will be sent to the mobile device. Also, here you can enable or disable the push notification. So you'll be able to receive notifications from the server in your mobile app. I will show you how to use it and how to configure it during the last webinar in Friday. Here, please pay attention on that. You can see that the port for the mobile connection is 8089. It doesn't mean that you need to port forward to forward this port for the system. Is just the port that is being used locally on your machine for this process. And another important thing, that I don't recommend you to change this port, because there were some problems with this moment. If you change this port, this process can just stop and don't run again until you change this port to 8089. So that's just my recommendation. Don't touch this port and keep it by default. Then watchdog timer, that's available only for some servers, because there are some options when we are configuring our own servers with Eocortex, and on that machines we can use our own hardware watchdog sensors. So you can restart the whole machine if the Eocortex server doesn't respond. Then SSL certificate, so you can upload your own SSL certificate that will be used for the encryption between the server and the client. I have a question for the mobile devices. So if you have a lot of mobile device to connect, so we may use different ports for each device. So the port will be still the same. We haven't faced any issues with the connection of lots of mobile devices, so it's working okay. The connection will be still done with the default ports for Eocortex. So for the just not encrypt connection, that's 8080, and you can change it. And for the encrypt SSL connection, that 18080, and you can also change it. So the ports will be the same, and if you want to use different ports, for some cases you can just connect with the secured connection on some devices and not secured on another. In this case, you will use the 8080 and 188 ports. Also, right here, you can enable or disable the client auto update. It allows you not to update every client. So for example, you updated your server to a newer version and you don't want to update all the clients connected to this server. So in this case, you just enable this option, and when you connect to the server with the client, you will receive a notification that a newer version is available. So it will suggest you to update your client. So it will be done automatically and without internet access, because the installation package will be available on the server. Please let me know, do you hear me and see my screen right now? Nice. Great. So that was all about the server configuration. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you don't have any questions and everything is clear, please also let me know, and we will go forward to another settings. Nice. Thank you. Then let's go. The last moment that I wanted to say, when we configure something about the server, you need to apply the server settings right here, and after that, the server will be restarted. So yeah, about the question that you was disconnected after 60 minutes. That was a technical issue, and I really hope that we won't face it this time. And this webinar will be a little longer, I think 1.5 and maybe 2 hours. But I will try not to do it very long. Also, are there any options for voice and sound configuration for communication over cameras or NVR? It depends on what sound configuration do you need, because we right now can just enable or disable the sound to receive it and also to transmit it from the client application to the camera. So for example, if the camera has its own speaker. So if I haven't answered your question, please give me more details about your question in the chat section, and we will continue right now and go to the next option, users. So here we have the configuration for the rights of the users. So here we have the Eocortex Ultra. That's why we have a group of senior administrators where we can't change any rights, because that's the administrator that has all the rights, so we can deny him to do something. So this group can be configured because all the rights are here, but you can add here more users. So we can change the name of the user that will be in this group and configure the password for the user. Then here you can see two buttons, add a group and add a user. So if we click add a group, we put the group name, for example, operators, once again. operators. Select here the role, so junior administrator or operator. You can see here that if we change the role, the amount of rights will be different. So for the junior administrator, we can see some rights for configuring the system. And if it's just an operator, we can only change settings about the operator watching the videos, working with the metadata and the recordings. Then let's go forward. When we select the basic, here we can see all the rights available for this group of users. So we don't change the rights for each user. We are creating different group of users and then add users to this group. So here we can change the rights for the all the common rights, so basic, then only about the cameras. So here we can select surveillance and archive. And for the administrator, we can also change the rights for configuring the cameras. Then grids. So we have different grids of cameras available in the client, and you can allow or deny the rights for different grids. For example, if you don't have enough power on your client workstations and you don't want to allow your users to open big grids like more than 200 cameras, then you can just deny access to these grids and so on. Then views, so that's the same as grids, but that's the predefined views where you can put the cameras there. So the client can just open the predefined view and start watching the cameras without selecting them. And also modules. So here you can allow or deny the access for some modules. So if you don't want to allow the access for some analytics and want to just give access to watch the videos. And also plans. If we need, we can deny or allow the access to the plans. So after we added a new group, we can click on it also and change the settings right here. So again, the rights are grouped in these tabs. So basic rights, cameras. Right here, this is the administrator account. So we can see here the surveillance, archive, and also configuring. Then servers. So we can distribute the rights for the different servers. If there are several servers and we want to give access to one server, deny to another, and so on. Grids, views, modules, plans, all that was available during configuring the users will be available also here when you have already created this group, but you want to edit something. Then when we are adding a user, so we can use this user and edit something, delete, or we can click add a user, select the group where we are putting this user. So for example, administrators, we can put the name of this user, set the passwords, add some notes if we need that. And also right here, we can use the Active Directory. Active Directory is available only for the Ultra, so it won't be available for ML, LS, ST, only for Ultra, but still you can use Active Directory and add this user right here. In this case, when you will enter to the system, there will be two options: log in with the Active Directory or log in with the Eocortex account. So the rights will be the same. So it doesn't matter what type of user it is in the Cortex 1 or the Active Directory. So it depends only on your configuration. You can configure it as you wish. So I see that there are some questions about the user configuration. If you have some more questions, you can send me these questions in the chat section. And right now I will create a pause and answer the questions. So any NTP server or time setup. So unfortunately, Eocortex doesn't have these functionalities, so you can't install an NTP server inside Eocortex, but it won't be any problem if there will be installed an NTP server and Eocortex server on one machine. So there won't be any conflicts if they use different ports. Then, can we import Active Directory users and group with domain permissions? Yes, so as I said, that's available without any problems. You can add as a separate user, and also you can add a group of users. So that's also available. So if you don't have any questions, let's go forward. Okay, so here we changed the rights for the Cortex users, but also you can see here another option, users of messengers. So Cortex has an integration with such messengers like Telegram, Viber, and also Facebook. So we can add users of Messenger right here. So here, first of all, you need to register your account. So right now I used this email. And here you will see the number of users that you can add here and their time when your account will be valid. Here, so you just register and then you can add users. So to add users, we click here. We use the email of this person as some kind of a token. So there will be a link sent to this person with the access to one of these or several chatbots. Also here you can put the name of this person and the group of users. So here the rights will be still the same as for the just common Cortex. And here you can select which account, so Telegram, Viber, or Facebook are you going to use. So that's all that I wanted to show you about the messenger accounts right now, because we will describe it closer during the webinar in Friday. So how to receive notifications or how to control the chatbot to work with the system. Then plans. Here you can upload your own plan of your site or several plans and so on. So right here I uploaded an image of our floor of our site. So it's very simple. So there is a corridor right here, a door right here. So you can upload just different images that you need. So you can, for example, take a snapshot from the Google Maps or something another, and then you can here add cameras. So for example, let's use this one, put it on the plan like this. So this is very important first for the operator to understand when this camera is placed, and also if we double click on the camera we can see the preview of the field of view of this camera. Another option is by clicking the right button on this camera. Here we can show the video, select another camera, and also set the camera field of view. So for example, this way. Yes. So in this case, once again, the operator can see the field of view of this camera and can understand where he's watching to. So we can add another camera, and also look into the future, I will say that it's very important for the interactive search and cross-camera tracking, because cross-camera tracking module allows you to track the person between several cameras, and it will be much more spectacular if you have a plan, because in this case you will see the trajectory of the person moving between the cameras of on one plan, or if you have several plans, you'll also see his trajectory between several plans. So this way you can put the cameras, change their position, and put in the field of view of the cameras right here. And also we can put the sensors and relays. So if you have the cameras with the alarm inputs, then you can add it as a sensor. So it will be triggered if the alarm input will be triggered. And the same way for the relay, you'll be able to control the alarm output of the camera on the plan just by clicking this relay. Yeah, if you have any questions, once again, please let me know in the chat. Then, views. So here we can create different views. So for example, let's create one more. So new view 3. If we double click on the name, we can change it. For example, test view. Yeah, very simple. Then we select the grid of cameras that we want to use here. So for example, this one. Yeah, this one. And then we can put the cameras on this view. So for example, face rack will be here, tracking here, other cameras will be placed here. So in this case, the operator doesn't need to select the camera grid, then put the cameras in this grid and so on. He just opens this view and the cameras will be already placed in this view of cameras. So you can create it for different users, and in this case, once the user opens his application, he'll be able to just open this view and start watching the videos without configuring his screen. Then we can also create the automatic switching of the views right here. So we click here and add a view. So the first one, then another one, yes, another one, and the third one. Yeah, so we can change the order of these views, for example, by using these strings, and also delete some views from this order. And we can change the interval between the changes, between the change of the view. So in this case, it optimizes the load on the client workstation, because the operator doesn't need to watch 100 cameras at once on one screen. For example, he can create 4 views with 25 cameras, or 5 with 20 cameras that will be changing, for example, every 20 seconds. So in this case, he don't need to watch all the cameras at the same time. He just watches these 20 cameras, then another, and so on. So if you are using the video wall, you can create these views and then use these predefined views, predefined grids on every screen of the video wall. So that will be available. So you just predefined configured these in the system configuration, and then send these views for the every screen. So the last option, automation, I also won't describe it today. I will describe it in Friday. So we will focus on automation, some reports, automatic tasks, and so on. So right now, that's all about the configurator. After we change everything, if we want to apply that, we need to click here. All the warnings will be available here. So for example, no alternate stream for the camera and so on. And there are just warnings. So that's just a recommendation for the administrator to change something to get the more efficient way of the working, or also you can receive the critical issues. So for example, you can use different analytics on one channel and so on. So these critical errors will be available here. Some description will be available to understand better what's wrong with it. And after that, you can apply. So everything will be changed as you need that. And also you can go here, change, and see what you have changed. So for example, I added a new view, a new plan, and also added an automatic profile switch. So that's all about the configuring of the system that I wanted to show you today. If you have any questions, once again, please let me know. If you don't have any questions, we'll go forward to the client application and discuss several modules that will be shown today. So if you have any questions, please let me know, or let me know if you're ready to continue. That's very funny because I'm using the account of my colleague, and actually my name is Ilya, but Igor is a nice guy too, so everything is fine. So my name is Ilya, and I appreciate your feedback and that you find this description very clear. Thank you for these words. So if everything is fine, let's go forward and go to the client application. So here it is, the client application. First of all, today, as we are continuing asking and describing the questions from the previous webinar, I will show you the client application, and then we will discuss the modules. Very good question. So if you have a multi-server installation and you configure the system in the main server, will the configuration will be synchronized in other servers? Yes, of course. So that's the main thing for the multi-server configuration, because you just control the whole system of the servers and not separately each server. You can change the settings for the group of servers, and then the main server will be sending the configuration to all the servers in this system. Is it a way to have Eocortex ML, L, and ST cameras on the same monitor of Eocortex client? If we're speaking about this client application, then unfortunately no. First of all, let me show you why it's so. So when we, let me close the browser. So first of all, let's open the Eocortex Ultra. So here we put the IP address, and if we need to connect with the secured connection, we just click here on the lock. So there is a description, so secure connection, or disable it, that will be not secured connection. And here we use the IP address of the server where we are connecting. Another important moment here, we can use another option, Active Directory. So you can see the icon is changing. Then, when we're connecting, we are connecting to a concrete server. This server can be a separate one or a server from the system. And anyway, the server, for example, from the system, it will be connected to another servers with the same license. So, for example, if you have a system of servers with ST, then every server in this system is working in ST. So it's impossible to work with cameras from different servers, from different systems of servers in one client application. But if you need, you can use the web browser, where you can create several tabs, and every tab will be connected to another server. So that's another small solution for you. And the same for the mobile client. So there you can connect two different systems, but in the client still you connect to the one system, and you can work with ML and ST systems at the same time. Yeah, nice. Another question, can I connect many camera with different server in a client monitor? A very good question. So first of all, let's take a look. Here is the client application. It can be launched on one monitor or several one. Here we see the menu. And first of all, here we can see the grid of cameras, so we can change the grid of cameras. If we previously used some cameras on this grid, they will be used here. If not, we just open it, and then we need to put cameras on this grid. Then, cameras. Here we see the list of all available cameras in the system. So if it is a group of servers, so a system of servers, multi-server configuration, then we will see the list of cameras, and for the operator, it doesn't matter if it's a single server or a multi-server configuration. He will just see the list of cameras. So answering your question, you can watch the cameras from different servers in one client application. And for the operator, for example, he's not similar with the administrator, and he doesn't need to know everything about your network. He just watches the videos of the cameras. So in this case, we can see here the list of cameras, and that's all. If you need, you can create folders for the camera, so the operator can find the required cameras by using the folder and so on. But still, he will see the list of cameras, even if they are placed on different servers. Then, if we click on the camera, we can see the preview of this camera. And if we need to open several cameras, we just select, for example, all of them, and we can open them in the current grid. So right now there isn't enough space for all the cameras, so this camera was just cut from here. If we need, we can again select the required cameras. For example, we disable these three and select open in optimal grid. In this case, you can see that the grid of cameras is changing, and the system suggests you the most efficient grid of cameras for your number of cameras. Then the next option is views. So I showed you how to configure them in the configurator, and here we can select this view. For example, I select this one, and it's changing. I haven't applied the automatic switch, but if I applied that, it will be also available here. So in the views, there will be another option, automatic switching of the views. So you select it, click start, and it will be switching every configured time. Then let's now select two cameras, for example, these two, open them in the optimal grid, and describe how to work with these cameras on the screen. So, for example, we can use drag and drop to move the cameras on the screen. So it's not so spectacular if we have two cameras on the screen, but if you have, for example, 20 and there are some empty cells, then it's important to have the easy way to move the cameras among the monitors, so you can just use drag and drop function. Then to open the camera in the full screen, it's pretty simple. We just double click on it, and here we go. If we have two streams on the camera and use the automatic option of changing the video streams, in the grid of cameras, we are watching the small resolution, VGA, for example, and in the full screen, we open the full screen of the camera like 4 megapixel or even 5. So here we open the camera in the full screen. If we need, we can use the digital zoom. So we click here and zoom in on a specific area. We can move the field of view by using the mouse, and also the wheel on the mouse will allow us to zoom in and out. Then to go to archive, here we have a specific button. And if we have an internal storage on the camera, when we click on the archive button, there will be two options: Eocortex archive or archive from this camera or NVR. When we open archive, first of all, we see this timeline. We can change the scale by using the wheel on the mouse. Here we open the calendar and see the days with the recording, so when the recordings were done. We can select one of these days. So double click here, select the time. So we can easily go to that specific moment in the archive. So we click, and here we are. We went to that moment in the archive. Then we can start the playback. And if it's important for that, we can change the speed of the playback. So it's not so smooth, but we can do that. So for example, yeah, double the speed will be better. Yeah, work hard, guys. Then, if we need to export this video, it's once again very simple. So we don't need to go to a specific menu. We just click with the right button here. We can change the camera, so select another one. We can select the camera and open it in the browser to change some settings. Exit the full screen mode. And here we can save the frame or print the frame. So it's important to get the fast way to use it without print screening the screen. And here, export archive. Here we can export the video in different options. So first of all, we select the camera, select interactively the time that we want to export, or we can do it manually just by putting date and time here. Then we select the format that we are going to use, like MP4 without timestamps, MP4 with timestamps. So yeah, that means that we can add the timestamps with the name of the camera, date, time to the video. AV also available, and let me describe our own format a little bit more detailed. So there is another option, MCM. That's our own format for the video exports. This option is it has several advantages, like you can export several cameras in one file. So for example, if you need, you can select 4 or even more cameras, export them to a single file. So there will be an option right here. You can export or not the sound. And here you will be able to copy Eocortex Player installer. So this application, Eocortex Player, it doesn't require a license for it. So there will be an application that will just start and you can work with it. And it will allow you to watch several cameras on one screen. So there will be the same grid of cameras, but on your another computer, even without Eocortex server there. So for example, you just plug in your USB stick, put the videos and the player installer, and then you can watch the videos even on your laptop. Then this player also will allow you to encode this video to another format like MP4 or AV. Yeah, that's it. And also another advantage of the MCM format, that this is the fastest way of the export. So if you are similar with working with the Cortex and don't limit it about the exporting to MP4, you can use MCM and it will be way faster. Okay. Let's go forward, and I see a question. So if cameras have SD card storage, is it possible to monitor it? So yeah, as I said, in this case, when you click on the archive button, there will be an extra option, internal storage. And if you go to that moment, you will see the same timeline, but the timeline will show you the recordings from the internal storage. Then can I get watermark for video export? So if you are talking about the time, date, name of the camera, then yes, there will be a small watermark with this info. If you want to add another, let's say, message, for example, pay attention on something strange in the right corner, then unfortunately it won't be available. So only common info about time, date, and name of the camera. Then for failover means if network or power failed, how can server replicate record from camera SD storage and recuperate the missing records? So that's not about the client application. So it will be done by the server because the connection was lost, but the server knows that the camera has its own SD card. So after the connection will be established again, the server will call for the archive installed on the recorded on the internal storage and synchronize the recordings. So it will be done without any actions from the operator. So it will be just done in the background. Possible to schedule an expert, maybe to do that at night. It's a good question, but we haven't faced it yet. So please, can you give me more details? Why do you need that? So where it is impossible to create these experts of the videos? Because we haven't faced this request yet. Once again, question about the watermark. So as I said, so you can export the video with watermark about the time and name of the camera, or without it, but you can add any extra info there. Next question, is it possible to make blurring on private areas or persons as for the GDPR? So this one is possible. We created a special version for that, but it wasn't really necessary for most of our customers. That's why it's not available in a release version. But if you need that for your project, we can provide you this version that provides the blurring, for example, for the expert videos or for the real time. So just let us know and we will discuss this version with you. Next question, will camera storage be auto-detected on Onvif protocol as well, or only supported devices with drivers? So it won't be detected. So if you know that these camera work with the internal storage, then you can enable it in the configurator. So, and in this case, you'll be able to check if the storage is working and watch it. But if you won't enable it manually, then the software won't check this option. Yeah, next question. Can we password protect expert video archive? So right now we don't have such option, but we are working on it, and I think that's on our roadmap and will be available in the future versions. And if it's critical for your own project right now, we are very we feel very free to change functionality of our product for your demand. So if you need, we can create a special version for you for your project and do it just without extra fees. Next, possible to schedule an expert maybe to do at night. It is for not consuming the system resources of the server or the client PC during working hours. So as I said, if it's necessary, we can do the replication of the whole archive during the night. So yeah, that's possible. But about the outer export of the archive, usually it's not so important because it's done manually. So if one of the operators needs that recordings, he manually starts exporting and so on. Can we encrypt exported archive? So right now it's not being encrypted, but we are working on that. We received several requests about that, and yeah, we are working on that. It will be available in the future versions. Next, I can import an external video for analysis. There is a small way how you can do that, but let's say that's more for the tests. So for example, right here, you can see the cameras that are not actually the real-time videos. So I just put the exported videos, so already cut videos, and looped them here. So I have a real-time video from this, let's say, video generator Rtsp server. So I receive the real-time video and can analyze it. So this is how the Eocortex works. We can analyze the real-time video and put the metadata from that analysis to the archive with the videos. So I have the archive and I have the metadata connected to this video. Yeah, so thanks for lots of questions. So that's great and makes our webinar more interactive. If you have more questions, please ask me. If you don't have any more questions, let's go forward. Yeah, if we blur the faces, can the admin user remove them and watch while the operator can't? So as I said, right now, this is a special version. So we can discuss what functionality do you need there. So you can just write a technical task to your manager, and then it will be forwarded to the engineer and the development team, and we will discuss what do need, what can we do, and then create a decision what we will do or not, and as a result, what functionality you will receive. Yeah, so if you don't have any other questions, let's go forward because we still have something to watch today. Yeah, so here we have cameras. So we watched how to go to archive, how to export it, and so on. But for example, if we need to watch several cameras in the archive at the same time, it's more efficient to go to the specific tab, archive. Here we select once again the grid of cameras like this. And here we can go to the specific moment in the archive for all the 4 cameras. So right here, we don't have the archive on all the cameras. Let's go here. Yeah, so right here, we have the recordings for all the cameras. So we can see it on the timeline. Let's raise the speed. So here we can watch the archive on all the cameras at the same time if we need that. And also the export is available here. So we just export it, print the frame, and so on. And also for the operator, it's available to add a bookmark to the archive. So we click here. And we can name this bookmark, select the category, alarm, give a priority. If we have lots of marks, it's very important to categorize them by the priority. Then put some text like pay attention on the white car in this it's very strange, and so on. Here we select the camera where we put this bookmark and also the time for this bookmark. So then you'll be able to see that bookmark in the archive and see the note from this operator. Let's go back. Then, so as we are the VMS and the video analytics, so we are doing the video management, and we are trying to provide you with the most efficient way to find the specific recording in the whole archive. So that's why we have such options like events, event journal, or reports. So reports will be discussed a little bit later, but what about events? So here we go to events and see all the events that happened in our system. So that can be disconnection with the cameras, some user actions. For example, this operator started watching the archive and so on. And also events from the analytics. So let's wait a little. I think that I enabled too much analytics to get this webinar more spectacular. That's why the workstation is a little overloaded. So usually the journal is launching faster. But still, here we can see the automatic uploading the journal with the events that happen in this system. We can go to another option and go to the archive, so we can sort this list by the time. Yeah, we can sort it and get the events only for this specific time. Then we can sort it for the number of cameras. So for example, if we have a huge system for 100 of cameras and we want to find a specific moment for example, 3 cameras on one room, for example, then we select just these 3 cameras, and the events will be shown only for these 3 cameras. Then types, so we can select what types of events will be shown. Um, events, so intelligent modules, server, user actions, and so on. So once again, we can sort it and search only for specific events. And also initiators, so from the system, from the user, from the external module, and so on. So we can sort it, and then also we can export this list of events in the text format. Then as I said, we are providing you with an efficient way to find the recordings. So here, let's find an event of the recognition of the license plate. Yeah, this one. When we click on it, we can see the preview of the camera right here. And if we double click, we go to the archive, to that specific moment when this license plate was recognized, and we can start watching the video from that moment. So this is how it looks. Right now I have a couple of questions, so let's take a pause and answer them. And once again, more questions, it's more interactive, so feel free to ask. How much cameras can we able to watch playback simultaneously? Good question. Let's figure it out because I really don't remember. Yeah, 25. So 25 cameras. So this grid will be available for you to watch it at the same time. Then sometimes an event error comes up, archive file corrupted, contact system admin, which we need to overwrite archive config files in the relevant folders, taking proper ones from the latest config. Yeah, config backup. It is not possible to have a menu like load the latest working configuration like in Windows OS. Right now, unfortunately, we don't have this option, but we have already received the similar request from one of our partners, and I think that our backend team will discuss it and do it in the future versions to have some kind of a way to back up to the previous working option just from the menu, because right now it's available, but it's by putting the configuration files to the specific folder and so on. But I think one day it will be available also in the interface. Unfortunately, right now it's not. Then will it be possible to send events by email or with automation? Thanks for the question, but as I said, all the automations will be discussed in Friday, in the last webinar of this lecture. Yeah. Then, Max, how many monitors can be used? It is same for the yeah, Max, how many monitors can be used? Okay, the maximal number of monitors that can be used just on one workstation is more limited about the workstation power. So the GPU that you are using, the power of the workstation, and so on. If we're speaking about the video wall, so we have a software option for the video wall. It will be discussed a little bit later today, and it can be containing up to 32 monitors as far as I remember, but again, we will check it today. Then a wood license plate is recognized in nighttime, dim light. Yeah, so we will discuss the license plate recognition today, and stepping forward, I will say that we can recognize it even during the night by using the infrared light, for example. Those have bookmarks be logged to overwritten. Unfortunately, let me read the question once again. Can any segment of archive, those have bookmarks be logged, not to be overwritten? So right now, no, we don't have such option. So if you have any important recordings, first you put a bookmark there so you can find that moment, and if you need to get it saved, then it's better to export this video, because right now it's not available in the Cortex. But once again, for your project we can develop it, and we receiving some feedbacks about the product, so our product manager decides what will be done in the future versions. Then can I search number plate image in whole archive? Yeah, that's a good question, but once again, please be patient, because we will focus on analytics a little bit later. So license plate recognition will be discussed today. When the camera have an event, can I set up the camera pop-up full screen? Good question. Once again, it will be discussed today. So let's go forward. Just briefly take a look at the rest options right here, and then we will go to analytics, because I think that you are more interested about that. So we will discuss it more closely. So events, as I said, then plans. So here is the plan. So this is how it looks in the client application. Then video wall. So in Eocortex Ultra, we have a software option of the video wall, and how we can work with it. Right here, we can see a list of available monitors, and it can be not the monitors of one workstation. You can connect several workstations to the same to one system of servers. So for example, you have 3 workstations, so 3 PCs with 4 monitors each. So there will be 12 monitors. All these monitors will be available here, so you'll see the IP addresses of these workstations. And then you can put these monitors on this scheme. So we can select the size of the video wall. As I said previously, 32 monitors is the maximal size of the video wall. So you can see how it's big. And here we just put these monitors on this video wall. We can show the monitor number. So you create your predefined video wall this way, and put the monitors in your order that you need. Then, after we configure the video wall, we go to the video wall management. So here we see this scheme of the video wall, and here we can select the one of the monitors. So right now it's not available, so we can change it. But for other monitors, we can select the monitor, change the grid of cameras, change the cameras on these on this monitor, and so on. So you can from one workstation you can change the cameras on the whole video wall. Then that was the video wall. Let's go forward to the settings. Here, we can go to the configurator by opening the system settings. So for example, for the remote machine, if you don't want to install a server here, but you want to watch the videos from there and change the settings of the server, you just install the client. The configurator will be by default installed with the client. And by clicking this button, you will open this installed configurator. Then, workplace settings. Here you can change the settings for this local client. For example, window mode. So the application can be launched as a Windows mode, so you can minimize it, close it, or open in the full screen, and so on. If you disable it, this application will be shown on the full screen. Then you can hide the camera grid, so all these borders between the cameras will be hidden. Then display alarm button, so you can enable your own alarm, so the operator can click on it and create an alarm, and it will be available in the journal, so user alarm. Then display alarm on camera button. So this will be a common button for all the cameras. This will be a button for the concrete camera. Then enable notifications regarding system issues. So these notifications are available in the right down corner. So for example, the CPU is overloaded or some problems with the archive, please contact your administrator and so on. Then there are some options for the proportions of the video and so on. Here, video, so we can save the proportions, stretch the videos and so on. Here we can use the H.264 decoding on the video card. So that means that if you have a supported GPU like NVIDIA or Intel, some of the videos will be encoded on that, so you can reduce the load on the CPU. As we have already discussed the video, I received a question. Let's answer it. Is it possible to configure multi-monitor as one big monitor, but by video wall? Suppose you have 9 monitors. For each person, the head will be in monitor 2, body will be in 5, and so on. So let's focus and describe what types of video walls are. So the first one is the hardware. So for example, if we have some kind of a switch that is combining several hardware monitors in one logical big monitor. So this is the first one. The second one that was described here, that's a software combination. So we can't control one huge screen as several separate. So we here with the video wall function will still control separate monitors that will be placed just on one wall or not. So it depends on your request. So we can't work with one screen and combine the cameras for the, for example, several corners of this one screen. Another question, can we use a Hikvision decoder, and here goes the model. Unfortunately, I can't answer this question right now because the list of integrated devices, it's available on our website, so you can change it. And unfortunately, I can't remember all these devices and keep them in mind. So it's better to check it on our website. And if you need some help with that, please contact your manager or our technical support, and they will be glad to help you with that. Okay, then Sound settings. So as we have already discussed the sound, so we can receive the sound and also we can transmit the sound from the workstation. H.265 and H.265 Plus are supported, yes. Then guard mode. So we can create and use the guard mode for some cameras, and how we can do that. So we can create the automatic action to generate an alarm. Then we can enable the guard mode for a camera, for example, this one, guard mode on. And if your scenario will trigger, for example, the movement will be detected, then you will see here a notification. So the alarm was generated. And if you need, you can enable the sound, so it will play if the alarm generated. And you can also create the alarm monitor. So there will be an extra monitor on your workstation, and if the alarm will be triggered, this camera with these videos will be sent to this separate monitor. So there was a question about the pop-up notification. So that's not a pop-up notification, but a pop-up video on the separate screen. Yes, for some alarms, you can also create the priorities to systemize them. Yeah, so that's it. That's all that I wanted to show you about the client workstation. So if everything is clear now, then we can go forward to the analytics. So we will discuss today the license plate recognition, facial detection, interactive search, shelf fullness check, heat map, tracking module. Yeah, I think that's all. So if you have any questions about the client application, please ask them right now. If you don't have, let's go forward and discuss the analytics. Alarm priority. So we can give them the priority for the events and then sort them right here. So for example, not to show alarms and information, only errors. So that's more for the reporting. So for the real time, you can create different notifications in automation section. So for the automation, it will be shown in Friday. So that's it for the priority. What configuration is required for the client if someone is streaming a large number of the cameras? So for the client, it's much more important to calculate the load of this workstation, because if you want to watch all these large number of cameras there, you need to have more power. And also, as I said, you can change the rights for this user not to watch some modules, not to open a big number of cameras at the same screen. So in this case, use this hardware more efficient. But if you just working with the streaming, it's more about the server configuration, not the client one. How can we display events or alarms events into our views pattern or video wall? So it's actually more useful, I think, to use several monitors, on some of them watching just cameras and one of them watching the events from the journal. Can your server handle 1000 streams at one time? Yeah, why not? It depends on the resolution and on the analytics. So if there will be just 1000 VGA cameras, then the load will be not so bad. So for example, if we're using 1 megapixel, so that will be different. 8 megapixel, well, then it will be a really powerful machine, and I think for 1008 megapixel cameras, I'm not sure that it will be able to handle with one machine, not a real one. So it can be a virtual machine, very powerful virtual machine, or several servers combined in one system. How to share a profile and alarm viewing with another user. So this list of alarms, it's available for all the users of the system that have rights for that. So if another operator will open the journal, it will be available, or once again, you can export this as a text file and open on one workstation on another machine. Okay, so yeah, let's go forward to the analytics. First of all, if we have already opened the shelf fullness check, let's describe it. So first of all, let's take a look how it works. So here we enable this module, show check zones. Let's double click. So here in real time, we can see the status of the shelf. So right now, this shelf is empty, 0%. This one is full, 100%. And the module is working pretty simply. So we configure the default image of the shelf, so the empty one, and then the module is comparing the real-time status with the empty status. So if it's totally different, then it understands that the shelf is full. If it's half, yeah, then it's half, and so on. So the module updates the info about the fullness when any motion in the frame stops. So now we need to wait when this gentleman will stop moving the bottles, and it will be updated. Okay, come on, faster. Yeah, now it's fine. He's satisfied. And I'm satisfied too, because the module works. After the movement have stopped, the status updated, and now it's 100%. Then it's not really great to see it in the real time because we want to receive notifications. In automation, we can create some different options. For example, if it's too empty, then receive notification in your mobile device or something like that. For the events in the journal, we can sort it for this shelf, apply. And for example, this one, shelf is empty, shelf 2, fullness 0%. We click on it and see that this shelf is really empty. So this is how it looks in the client, in the event journal. Let's go to the configurator and take a look how we can configure this module. So shelves, analytics. So once again, we go to configurator, camera, select this camera, open the analytic tab, and here we see that it's already enabled. Before we enable the module, we need to enable motion detector and then open the settings. So here we can create several shelves on one camera. So we add a shelf right here. Then we can open the moment in the archive when it was empty, select the area and click here, save empty shelf. So in this case, you will save the image of the empty shelf. Then we select another shelf. So once again, we select the zone and save the picture of the empty shelf. And then we can set the parameters. So the threshold, right now the 40%. So if the fullness is less than 40%, there we will receive the alarm. And also we can create the refresh interval. So if we don't need to change the status just immediately to raise the accuracy, we can change it, for example, to 50%, to 30, 60, and so on. But right now, for the more action in the frame, I minimized it and set the 5 seconds. But once again, you can change it. So in this case, you receive an alarm in the journal if the fullness is less than 40%, and you can configure different notifications for that. Also, I forgot to show you another way for the afterwards analysis. So that's the reports. So reports is the option that allows you to create a report, that's simple, for a specific module. So here we select the module type, the time, the shelves. We build a report and see the status of the shelves for that period. So here we can see the number of minutes during this hour when the fullness was lower than 40%. So for this hour it was 42 minutes, and we also see for each hour when the fullness was really low. So here for 2 minutes and so on. So we can see this info, time when the fullness is lower than 40%. So it's available here for this shelf and for this shelf. So we can see that mostly this shelf is full and this is not. And we can export this report in CSV. So we can receive reports from different modules and work with it afterwards, even without Eocortex. So just by opening this text file. I received a question: is the analysis obligatory to be done only in real-time video, or can't it be done with the archive? Suppose a task come on, we needed analysis of the archive where we did not have configured before. So as I said, our analytics is working with the real-time videos. So we receive a video, we analyze it, and then put the metadata, results of the analysis, with the recordings to the archive. So you'll be able to work with it afterwards. But yeah, that's a real-time video. If you need to analyze the recorded video, you need to find a way how to stream this video and work with it as a real-time. Yeah, so that's the shelf fullness check. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you don't have, we'll go forward to the heat map module. So heat map module, once again, let's enable it for the viewing. So this module is pretty simple. It's using the motion detection to analyze the whole frame and understand when the movement was more intensive and where it was less intensive. There are some options for the operator how to change it. So here we can enable or disable it, change the color scheme. So for example, this one is more detailed because it consists of blue, green, yellow, and red. So we can see that the color is changing, and we can see when it's more intensive. And we can change the scale from linear to logarithmic or exponential. So this is how the logarithmic works, and here is the exponential. So as you can understand with the mathematics, so it depends on the intensivity of the movement. So some of them requires the most intensive movement to get any change on the frame, and the logarithmic will detect any movement. So we can see that the color is changing really fast. So this is how it looks in real time. We can go to reports, select heat map. Here we select the time, days, time, the color scheme, heat map opacity, scale, liner, and so on. Select the cameras, build. While we are waiting for the yeah, it's already done. So we can see here that let's change the date because it's not enough time, I think. So yeah, let's change for that. For all analytical operations, is there any specific brand of cameras required for this? No, this is one of our main advantages because we are not limited about the camera brands. We work with just video streams, and if your camera can send us the video stream even with the Rtsp or Onvif, we will get it and we will analyze it. So it can be an integrated camera, it can be another software that is providing us the video and so on. So we are not limited about that. So let's change the scale and create another report. If such analytics types are on the camera and if we use them from the camera, do the minus change. Unfortunately, right now we don't work with let's say on edge analytics, so from the camera. So the only analytics from the camera that we support is just the motion detection, and it's not, it can be used for our modules. So this is actually, the previous question was our advantage. The second one was our negative feature because we can receive all the video streams and analyze them on the server. This is the advantage because you don't need to, for example, buy only Axis cameras or only Bosch cameras and so on. Your system can consist of lots of different cameras, NVRs and DVRs. But we can't work with the onboard analytics. So this report is doing really slowly, more slower because once again, yeah, I overloaded the server, so that's my fault. Sorry for that. But still, yeah, we received these report and we can export it. It will be exported as an image, so not a text file, just an image. And about the configuring, how we configure that, we once again go to the configurator, select heat map camera, enable the motion detection, and here we can set the wake decay for when viewing in real time. So after this period, this will be just erased. And also we can set the auto-saving of data. So we can set the time, the plan, so we can also save it on the plan and set the folder where we need to save that. So that was the heat map module. How to count the persons in the dense areas. Another module, yes. So we will discuss another modules because this one is more for the marketing, just to get the info about the areas when the movement is more intensive. So this module doesn't count the number of people. Yeah, let's change to another module, people counting. So this is the people counting module. It's pretty simple, but it's still very useful for some sites. So it's counting people by analyzing their video stream for the motion. So here we just see that the recommendation for the camera, because it has to be installed just under above the entrance and forwarded just on the floor. And here we see the number of entered and exited people in the real time. We can go to the report, select this module, people counting, select the time. So for example, so let's get a report for the whole day, build. And we will see the number of people that entered during this hour, that exited during this hour, and how many people were inside during this hour. So we can get this data afterwards in the report and export it in the CSV, Excel, and also this graph as a JPEG. So that's pretty simple. Then let's go to the configuration. So counting module, settings, and here you can see the interface of this module. So we just draw a line that will be crossed by people, and we set the size of one person. So if we have a very big number of people in the frame at the same time, we set the approximate size of one person. So this stream of people will be split on these portions, and we will understand how many people entered. You may think that the accuracy of this calculation is very low, but we tested this module on different sites, and this module can be accurate as let's say 85, in some situations also 90%. So it's all depends on the camera position and on the camera settings. Because if you just put the camera in this correct position, so without disposal, with any angle on the horizon or vertically, in this case, the accuracy will be really high. Also, there are two types of the calculation, so several people in the frame or separately moving people in the frame. In this mode, separately moving, it's more focused on the low number of people in the frame. So when they are moving separately, that's where this name of this mode begins. And in this case, you can put the cameras not strictly vertically, So it can be a little disposal, but in this case, it won't be so accurate when the number of people is really big. So it's more just for separately moving people. So here we configure the line, the object size. We can check the video in real time or archive. And also here we can set the option for the automatic saving of this report. I see some new questions. How to count the persons in the dense areas, the module, that's the previous one. Is it possible to configure when to reset the counter? Yes, that's also is available right here. So counter reset is available here, so you can set, for example, every 12 hours, day, 7 days, and so on. About the height, the recommended height of the camera is about 3 meters or a little more. About the lens, the angle of the camera has to be just usual, so this module won't work correctly with the fisheye cameras or with other wide angles. As about the zooming functions and so on, so it's not so important. So we just need to put the cameras with a pretty low resolution, about 1 megapixel will be okay at the height of 3 meters. Yeah, that was the people counting module. Let's go forward to the next module. Tracking. So tracking module is a pretty simple module, but still it's very popular. So this let's say this is the same motion detection module, but we can here put more alarms, more filters for this motion to get more metadata from it. So here you may notice that we received a couple alarms for the line crossing and also for the zone interception. If we need, we can go to the settings of the module right here, show alert zones. So here is the line, here is the zone. And also we can show the colored boundaries of the objects, so we can see the info from the motion detection if the object is moving, and also show the trajectories. So here they are. So everything is pretty simple right here. Then we can go to events. Let's sort the events only for tracking. We double click and nothing happens. No, there was a delay. I'm kidding. So here is the zone. Here is the object that created this alarm. So that was an alarm in the zone. Then we can also find the moment for the line interception. Here it is. Double click, and here we go. This is the line. This is the object that crossed this line. Everything is simple. We can detect this moment. We can go to the archive and watch this moment. So pretty simple. Yeah, let's go to the configuring of everything. Some words about the image quality, resolution, and so on. And I see that there is a question about this module. So here we go. The tracking module. So here we can configure the object size of for all the alarms. So this is the size. Or we can go to alarm settings and create different alarms types like line interception. So we draw a line, so we just move it as we want. We can select what direction will be triggered, so both first one, so there will be a string here, and also we can set the minimal and the maximal size of the objects for this type of alarm. Now I think your question will be very suitable. So how to configure the tracking not to be affected by shaking three arms or the wind, snow, rain, animals, and so on. How to distinguish some specific objects. For example, can we understand the moving object is a train? So that was I wanted to show you. Here we can set the minimal and the maximal size of an object that is triggering the alarm. And this is our suggestion how you can differ different objects between them. So for example, for this line, I want to trigger only vehicles. In this case, I configure the minimal object size is bigger than the human size. The maximal is more than the vehicle. And for example, for the alarm in the zone, I configure the minimal size very small, and the maximal one is not very big. So for example, the vehicle won't trigger this alarm and the human will trigger it. So this is how we can get the notifications from different types of objects. And the next your question, any chances to integrate these with public address system for further alarm announcement? Yes, that's possible. Why not? So we have some projects when the tracking module is being used in really different situations. And for the automation and some automatic actions, you can configure the notification the way when it will be sent only, for example, if the object crossed the line or only if the movement was in the zone and so on. The resolution for this module is pretty small. So for example, even VGA will be okay with the 15 frames per second. So that's really simple analytics. The camera position, so this camera position is okay for this analytics. So if it will be more vertical, that's also okay. It's more problematic if you will put it horizontal position. In this case, there can be some problems. Can you detect vehicle make and model? No, unfortunately, this module is really simple. It's just analyzing the size of an object. So it's not analyzing if it was a vehicle or if it was a human and so on. It's just checking the size of it. Yeah, let's go forward, because we are already talking for closely to 2 hours. So let's a little hurry up and discuss the rest modules. So we still have the crowd monitoring, interactive search, and LPR. Can alarm be specified for vehicles with speed restriction? Unfortunately, no. So it can be done. For example, no, I was trying to imagine the situation when we can detect the speed, but unfortunately, it can be done only with some external system. So to integrate between them and receive the notification from another system. So only Cortex can solve it. So another module is crowd monitoring. So it's this module shows us the average number of people in this area. So we just draw an area and right here see a number of people that are inside. So that's the Once again, can you see the screen and hear the sound? Was the sound fixed? Phew, nice. Once again, sorry for that. I'm really disappointed that we are facing these issues. Check my mic. It's too loud or it's too noisy. Can you say what's wrong with it? Oh, nice. So, yeah, let's focus on the education and try to finish it in 15 minutes and not more. To enable some modules, we need to do some actions. For example, for sound detection, we need to enable sound. And you may notice that the crowd detection is not working. We need to enable the perspective settings. They're available right here on the same window. We enable it and configure the settings. So set the object size on that stage and on the main stage, like this. Click OK, and then the crowd monitoring will be available. Here we can set the zone. We can configure several zones, and here we can set the maximum acceptable number of people and demanding attention. So you can receive notification if the number of people in this area is too big. Then now the report is available and we can see the number of people in this zone during this period. So for each hour, we can see the number of people. We can configure this report and watch it. Then next module, let's take a look. I think that we have, interactive search and LPR. So for the interactive search and also the facial detection module, for these modules, we need to go to this search menu, select the camera. For the crowd, it can be automated, but for some such modules like LPR, facial recognition, so license plate recognition, facial recognition, and people counting module, reports also can be automated. So you will receive an email. You will receive an email with the just text with the text file with these metadata, for example, what license plates were recognized, what people faces were recognized, or how many people were entered, exited, and so on. So this is how it works. Now, interactive search. Here we enable the cameras. Where do we need to search? And we can search for a specific time, of course. Let's select this. Then we can search for a specific zone in the frame, for example, this one. Size of an object, so we can change the minimal and the maximal size. We can also set the proportions if we need to find the specific object. And also here there are search samples. So for example, we can search only for people or upload our own filter. So let's search just by movement in this zone. We receive results. We can group these results. Then let's search only for people. And also we can search for a specific object. For example, let's select this person. We click here, select search for this object, and we can see here that this object was added as a filter for the search. We search once again and see that this module shows us the suggestion with the similar only the similar object with this sample. So that can be detected from this camera sample, or we can do it another way. For example, add a sample. We can search for a specific color like dark blue and like gray pants. We add, search once again, and see also this result. Another option, we can just use the brush, draw something gray, search for it. We receive lots of gray results. And another option, we can upload from file. So load an image. It will be done like this. We select the area so the module can understand what we're searching for. Select this way, and then we can use the brush to select this area. Okay, add. And once again, we receive it. So if we have several cameras, we can also search the trajectory, the movement of this person between several cameras. And of course, by clicking these results, we go to the moment in the archive. So we not just search for this image, we go to the archive and get the link to the video so you can find this moment and export it. Then also we can search for a face. So facial detection module works in the same point of menu, the search. Here we enable search by face, click search. And here we can see all the events when the face was detected. So once again, we click on it and go to the moment in the archive when it was detected. Can we search a video scene for an object with specific criteria? So if you mean, for example, color or a sample, yeah, we can do it. For example, we can search for a vehicle. You upload just an image of this vehicle or its color, and we get it in the results. So any other questions, you can ask them in the chat section, and I will go forward to the settings. So to change the settings for these modules, we select the camera. For the facial detection, we just check the sensitivity, high or average. For the interactive search, we have more settings. So we can disable all of that, and then the list of available filters for the search will be really small. And if we need to search for proportions for the color and so on, we enable these two options: proportion classification, indexation of moving objects. We configure the minimal size, the maximal size, and also to detect better the same person on different cameras. We can select the indoor or outdoor camera to combine the different lighting conditions. Another question, can we export scene for specific object from several cameras in one scene? Yes, that's possible. Let's try to do it right now. Yeah, let me show you how we can get the report from the interactive search. So let me configure also another camera. So it will be done in real time. Yes, and now it's fine. Yeah. So I will enable another camera, so it will record some video in the archive and get it analyzed. And during that, we will take a look on the license plate recognition. So after we finish with that, we will discuss the interactive search function. So license plate recognition, how it works. Here is the camera with this module, and we can see this list of recognized license plates. And if this license plate is already in the database, we can see some additional info like the name of the driver, the group of this license plate, like whitelist or interception, and so on. And also you can notice here that there are buttons for the manual control of the barrier. So we can use the alarm outputs of the camera, output ports, to control the barrier to the camera and control it manually. So by clicking this, or do it just automatically if the license plate from the whitelist unlock the gate and then close it after timeout. If it's an interception, then send a notification to the security guy, and so on. Then if we double click on this license plate, we go to the archive to that moment when this license plate was recognized. Here we can add a license plate to the database. So we select the group. We see the license plate itself. We can put the name and the surname of the driver, the model of the car, color, and so on. So every additional info can be put here. So we did it. And then let's go to the reports for the license plate. So we see here the date, time, license plate, so the symbols, then the group, name of the camera, full name of the driver. Then also the module can detect the direction of this vehicle. So if it was entering, exiting, or in some situations when the direction is unknown, then we can also add the info about the car. It wasn't added here, but it's possible. So model, color, and so on, manually put it. So the module won't detect it, but you can add it if you need. And also interception for some groups. There was a question before if we can search for a specific license plate. So yeah, that's possible. Do we need two camera for in and out reporting? So no, you can see here, for example, this car is leaving, this is entering, so we can have one camera. In some situations, we can have one camera to detect the entering and exiting cars. Then another question was about the search. So let's search for this specific license plate that is consist of these numbers 749. We refresh and see all the moments in the archive when it was recognized. So we can see the time and date. And if we click, we see that it was the black Peugeot sedan. So we see that we can export this archive, and the database of the license plate can be imported as just a text file or exported. What about if we have two vehicles at the same place and time entering and exiting? So this module can work even on the with the high speed of driving. So, for example, on the highways and so on. So it can detect several vehicles at the same time. So that's a really unique moment when we can't detect several vehicles at the same time. So mostly it's working fine. So we can detect them and they will be just detected with the same time. The second will be different, I think, but still we will get this is entering, this is exiting, and so on. Then about the configuration of the camera. So here we select the license plate recognition, open settings. And as I said during the previous webinar, we need a separate license for this module. Right now the license is installed and we see the list of available countries. So for example, let's select Germany. So we select this country and we see the available templates for this region. So we can select several of them that we need. So I don't recommend to select all of them because that will increase the load and decrease the accuracy, but you can select several of them. You can select several regions at the same time and it will work fine. Arabic characters, we have some regions also for the Arabic countries, so they are available. So that's also not a problem. And if your region is not integrated yet, we can integrate it, but it will require some time and maybe some materials from you, like plates, images, or videos. Then barrier gate control. So here, as I said, if we need to control it manually, we need to do it here, enable it. Recognition settings. So here we select the minimal and the maximal size of the license plate. Then license plate search zone, so the zone that will be scanned with the module. Then quality of recognition. I recommend you to set this parameter as an average, and if you don't have any detections, then get it lower or even minimum, because in this case the module will show you more results, but if some of them will not be very accurate, it will still show you. If you set maximum, then the module will show you only that results that are absolutely sure about that. So it can just skip some detections and not show them. So I recommend you to set average, and if you have any false detections, then raise it. If you not receive any detections, then get it lower. And also you can set the acceptable number of unrecognized characters. So right here. Database, so it can be local or remote. So remote database allows you to combine, for example, several for the multi-server configuration. If you have, for example, 2 servers with the license plate recognition module and you don't want to change the database for each camera separately, you can connect them. One of them will be storing the database, another one will be connecting there, and you will be able to work with the database for 2 sites at the same time. Yeah, so that's it, the license plate recognition module. Let's go back to the interactive search. So yeah, let's see how it looks after the export. So let's search for people. Yeah, for this guy, we search for 2 cameras and see that he was found on several cameras. Now we click on one of the samples and select suspect tracking. Right now, these cameras were not added on the plan. So that's why we can see this message. The camera is not assigned to any plan, but still the module is working. We enable the suggested samples. So we can see that he was detected on different cameras. And now we watch the results. We can see that he was detected on one camera. We can see that moment on the timeline. This camera is not assigned to the plan. Then he was detected on another camera. We can see the time. We can see the plan and the camera that detected him. So yeah, we just have right here 2 detections. Let's, I think, get more. That's not a problem. Yeah, we have some detections here. Let's select them too. Yeah, now it will be more informative. So once again, we see him here. Then on another camera. So this module is not 100% accurate, but it helps us to minimize our work on searching for a person, because we don't need to watch all the videos, for example, for like 24 hours. We just need to upload our sample for the search and get these results, and afterwards we get this cutted video and can export it. So we receive this video with the name of the cameras, with the time and date. Then we just export it, select the video format, MCM, MP4, and so on, and just export it on the desktop. Open for viewing, yes, let's check it. So once again, I'm very sorry for these problems with the connection with the platform. So here is the exported video. Sorry for that. So that's all for today. So I showed you several modules and continued some points that when were we interrupt last time. So in Wednesday, I will show you the REST analytics modules, how set them up, how work with them. So it won't be so long as today. So it will be about 1.5 hours. And the last webinar will be in Friday. It will be about automation, how to get automatic reports, notifications, and so on. So I will show you the messenger, the mobile clients, and so on. So it will be in Friday. So thanks a lot that you were here, that you get back after that disconnections. Thanks a lot for that, and see you in Wednesday. So bye-bye, and yeah, stay healthy in these strange times. So yeah, you're welcome, and thanks you too. Bye-bye.